Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com. And today I'm here to do my online workshop for my September tutorial. And I'm actually doing a tape of it because I'm going to be out of town at the beginning of September. And I wanted to get this out there before I left. So I do a tutorial for anybody that places an order with me. It's this month it's 6 projects. I do up PDFs of each project with all the measurements and the products I used and everything. And this month I've decided to try something new and do an actual online workshop of 4 of the projects that are in the tutorial. So it will help me explain better how things are put together, the measurements that you need, and all that. Just so you're aware, if you place an order with me, everybody gets that tutorial. If you place an order with me of $50 or more, I send you a packet of supplies. So this will be September's tutorial. The packet of supplies will come at the beginning of October. You'll have a packet of supplies with the designer series paper, the embellishments, the ribbon, the cardstock, everything that you need to put these projects together. Now the only thing I can't do is I can't stamp the images. And so to put the projects together like I have done, you're going to need the Reindeer Days bundle, which is this stamp set here. I will have a list of supplies down in the YouTube description of everything that I used today and in this tutorial, and I'll also have it on my website. And I'll probably send it out on my newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, it would be a good idea to do that. It's one way for me to get information to you, such as tutorials, classes, any online videos I'm doing, any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. We're going to go ahead and get started on this tutorial. I'm going to walk you through 4 of the projects, and let's do this. All right, so this month's tutorial uses the Reindeer Fun Stamp Set M Bundle. And this is a great bundle, and by the end of this, I will have used many of these dies. And so it comes with 2 sheets of dies, so it's a big bundle. And as you can see, it's got images or dies to cut out the images. And then it also has dies that are just called standalone dies, which make things. And I'm going to actually do these with you today so you can actually see what it's all about. And it also has this big opened circle die cut that does like a evergreen or tree branch around it. And we're going to use that today too. So I'm going to set these aside for now and get my stamps ready. So for this first project, I'm going to use Reindeer with Baby. I'm going to use the Christmas Together is Better. And I'm going to use the Evergreen Tree. Oh, and I'm going to use a lot in this one. There are some snowflakes in here that I'm going to use. So I'll set these aside for now. So this particular suite comes with designer series paper. These are just a sampling of those papers. There's 12 different designs on double-sided sheets, and you will get a 4x12 piece of all of the designer series papers to work you through it. The first project I do does not use designer series papers. So I'm going to bring in my cutter, and I'm going to bring in a piece of Pool Party. We're going to cut this at 5 1/2 and then score it at 4 1/4. Now you want to make sure when you're doing this that you're not using your cutting blade to score, or you're going to cut cardstock. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white, and this one I'm actually going to cut down to, this could be 5 1/4. And then I'm going to cut 2 at 4. All right, so we're done with that part. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take that little snowflake and the Pool Party ink, so it's tone on tone, and do these little snowflakes. And I'm kind of churning my stamp a little bit so it looks more random as opposed to all being in the same direction. And most of this is going to get covered up, but I did want to have these snowflakes in that background of this die cut. So I'm going to take this die cut, the circular one. I better close this up or I'm going to end up with pool party ink on my fingers and then on my card. So I'm going to lay this die down. Now I personally like to use the Post-it tape to place it exactly where I want it so it doesn't move on me. And then I'm going to run this through my Big Shot or my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And pull off the tape. Oh, I had a little scrap on there. That's all right. It's still going to be okay. And then I'm going to pull this off. And this is going to be a little bit harder because it's very defined. It's got a lot of cuts in there. So if I pull this off, put this aside, and come in with my Take My Pick tool, and very gently, I'm going to pull this. I'm actually pulling it through the back. Either way would work. You can go forward or you can go back. Pull this off. And then I'm going to use my Take My Pick tool and just punch out the rest of those holes. And there's a lot. All right, move that out of the way. Then I'm going to come in with another piece of basic white, and I'm going to use the Early Espresso, and I'm going to stamp these two deers with Early Espresso. I like to use, I'm going to color them with blends, and sometimes I just like to change up my ink colors. I find myself using Memento a lot. But the nice thing about blends is that you can use any of our designer series or our classic ink to color with, because they are, sorry, I have the wrong marker there. All right, so we can use any of our classic inks to color with because they're water-based and our blends are alcohol-based, and so they don't smear, they don't mix, they kind of stay away from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and color in this deer, and I'm going to start with my dark pecan pie. And I'm actually going to kind of color just along the edges here where I know there would be a shadow. And then Stampin' Up! Also has these shadow marks that are actually on the stamps that help you know where there'll be a shadow. And again, it would be, you know, under the leg, under this leg would be shadowed. And then there's a little bit here. And I'm going to do the same thing with the little fawn. And I'm just putting down a little bit. It's not a ton, but it's just a little bit of shadow. And I can always bring in more. And then I'm going to come in with my light pecan pie and kind of blend that in. And one of the things that happens with blends is as they dry, and they dry fairly quickly, they have a tendency to continue to blend into each other. So I'll just color right over the, right where I have the dark pecan pie. And then the legs. And then I'm going to come in with the dark crumb cake and continue on with that process. Ooh, this is really dark. It's a very different color. So to make that shade better, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it across all of that I've already colored. And that will help blend in those colors. So you can see how you just get bigger and bigger and bigger to get the image colored in. Do the same here with the leg. The same here with the little fawn. We have 2 fawns in our neighborhood that are, I think they live here. They've been so cute to watch all summer as they've grown up. They still have their spots. But they play and play and play, and oh my gosh, they're so cute. That's probably one of the reasons why I love this set so much, is because, ooh, my crumb cake light marker is getting dry. I need to get a new one. I might have to make this a little bit darker or find another brown. It is really dry. I think the other end doesn't work very well. Oh, it's working okay. My brush tip on this is kind of mangled. I really prefer to use the bullet tips. Color her in. I'm going to use a little bit more of the dark, just to kind of blend that in better. I wish my crumb cake had worked better, but oh well, it happens. With the ears. And then I'm just going to bring in a little bit of Pretty in Pink. Not that the ears in our neighborhood have pink ears, but it makes this look really cute. And then a little bit more of the pecan. And then I'm also going to stamp a couple of trees with the garden green. And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and using the dies, we'll line this up. Tape them down. Run this through the stamp cut and emboss machine. Pull this out. I save all this Post-it tape on the top of my handle of my cut and emboss machine because I can use it over and over and over. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 trees. All right, so I have my card base. I'm going to attach this piece. Let's have a little bit of sticky on there from the Post-it note. So you can just get an eraser. My finger works. I'm going to go ahead and attach this on. So I'll put some adhesive around the edges. Add this to the front of my card, and you'll see how those snowflakes that I stamped pop through that window. So this is a good time if you don't have enough snowflakes in there, or you think you need more, or you think you need them to move a little bit, or go ahead and do that. All right, so then on these trees, they all have a star on the top of them, and I wasn't really sure that I didn't really want a star on them. I just wanted them to be some evergreen trees. And so all I did is I just cut that star right off the top. I did it kind of at an angle too, just to make them look like they still had a point at the top of that tree. And I did it to all of them. And then I just adhered these around the edges of my card. You'll notice I did it in threes. I have a tendency to do lots of things in threes. And then I'm going to take the deer and add them on. Oh, before I do that though, I think I'm going to stamp at the bottom of this. And I could have done this before I actually did the cutting out so that I could make sure that this fit on there perfect. But it fits. So like before you cut out the circular die, you could actually stamp it, and then you'll know exactly where you want that to be. Add some dimensionals to my deer. And this is when you can kind of adjust. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. I have a little bit of time to move my trees up. Might even move this one up too. And then add my deer. Yeah, that's how I want it. Perfect. And there is the outside of your card. And then on the inside of your card, you can go ahead and stamp another tree. And I think I'll use another stamp from that set. This is just the Merry Christmas. And I'm going to use the pool party. I'm going to move that out of the way before I get it right in the middle of my card. And then this piece is going to go right to the inside of my card. And there is your first card in the tutorial. Same thing I did on this one. I made this one before my crumb cake dried out. So oh, I know what I was going to show you. There's one more thing. So if you have a white gel pen, which everybody should have in their stamping stash, because they are very handy for a lot of things. And I'm going to take this white gel pen and actually put some white dots on my little fawn here, because they're the ones with the white dots. I might even have to add another little baby fawn on there just so it looks like the deer in our neighborhood. So there's card number one. Okay, for this card, we're going to use all kinds of the die cuts from that set. As you can see, most of this card is die cut. And I'm using lots of different pieces of cardstock. I'll just leave that up there so you can actually see it the whole time. So I've got pecan pie, real red, garden green, crumb cake, early espresso, pool party, and granny apple green. And the granny apple green is the base of our card. And so you're going to take a piece of granny apple green and cut it down to 5.5 by 8.5. And again, score it at 4 1/4. And then you're going to take the other half of that granny apple green and we're going to cut it off at 4 and 5 1/4. So here's our card base. And we're going to start with this one. Oh, I need a piece of white for the inside. Let's grab this here. We're going to take this piece and we're actually going to cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5. And again, we're going to take the pool party and the snowflake. Oops. Make sure you put the stamp in the ink pad the right way. And then just go ahead and randomly stamp this snowflake inside where you believe the circle's going to be. And then I'm going to close this up for now. We're going to take this piece, and to begin with, we are going to use the die cut and cut out the that circular die. And on this particular project, I'm using two techniques. I'm doing the embossing folder and I'm doing the die cut. And because I want to do it right over the top of it, I need to do the die cut before all right. So we're going to go ahead and lay down our die cut. And honestly, the die cut can go either way. I'm going to do it this way because that deer is going to be peeking out inside that circular. So we'll put that there. Come in with our Post-it tape. And run this through the Stampin' and Emboss machine. And again, we're going to pull this off. Yeah, I think it works better if you could leave it just the tape on there and then pull it off. Got most of the that side. I'm going to come in with my pick tool and go ahead and pop out all the little pieces that didn't pop out. All right, once I've done that, then I'm going to come in and I'm going to emboss it. And I'm going to use this great plaid 3D embossing folder that comes in this suite and lay my cardstock in there. And the reason you want to cut it with the die first is because if you emboss it first and then ran it through the machine, you would have flat embossing. So this will keep the die in its original shape, and it will make the embossing look great. So when you do embossing with these big 3D embossing folders, you want to lay it down so that where it's folded is on that end, and it's going to go in the machine like this. And you use plate number 4. I love this embossing folder. I just think it's great. And when we get our new two-tone cardstock, which hopefully I'll have when I get back from my trip, I'm going to show some techniques to do with that. But there's that plaid. That just kind of changes up the look of this piece of cardstock. And so what I'm going to do is this is going to get put onto here and put onto the card base. So I'm going to start with this piece because I cut this one a little bit smaller than this layer. And so I'm going to place it onto my card so that I have an even frame around the edge. And then I can add this one. And so you might want to add this one sometimes with our multi-purpose glue. Sets those deep embossing ridges better, but this is going to work. So there is my card base ready to go. And then I need to cut out a whole bunch of dies. So I'm going to do a wreath. And this is a great time to just cut a whole bunch. I mean, really, if you're going to be using this set for a lot of things, just cut a whole bunch of stuff. Lay it all out here. In fact, I'm going to do this because I'm probably going to use... Oh, no, I'm not going to use that. I'll do the bow. Do this. I'm going to cut a whole bunch, and I'll be right back. All right, so I cut a whole bunch of dies out because I figure if you're going to do it, let's just cut a bunch. It's a great little project to do sitting in front of the TV. It's a great project to give kids to do. So now we're going to put these together. So these 3 pieces here make the deer head. And I found that I personally like to use multi-purpose glue because it gives me a little bit of time to move it around and make sure I get it right where I want it. And you will see that they line up perfectly. And so you just layer these, and then you have this really cute deer. That's where we could put some glue on the ears. We need a ton. And like I said, it gives me time to move it, manipulate it a little bit. Oops. And make sure that I get those lined up before that glue sticks. But how cute is that? Look at the detail in this little deer. So you have these little details in the ear. You have the detail of the eyes. They even did the dye so that the eyes would show. It's cool. And if you wanted to, if you wanted to make it Rudolph, you could certainly take the middle die, which is this one, and that little piece there could be a red nose. Or even a red gem would be cute in there. All right. And then I did all these presents and a wreath. And so with the wreath, I'm actually going to just put him down inside there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the wreath right here at the top. And then slide my deer right down in there and pinch it, and it's ready to go. And then all the presents, so I just cut a whole bunch of stuff. So what I loved is that you cut out the ribbons too. And so this would be a ribbon. I'm going to add it with the green glue. I call multi-purpose green glue because the tube is green. And then if I want, I can add a little tiny bow. So I'm not going to add too much. I'm just doing dots, little dots of the adhesive. And give that bow a little bit more. So there's a present. Let's see, we'll do a green one going the long way. So these all mix and match. And really, you could use any colors. I use these colors because they were the colors in the designer series paper. And I wanted everything to kind of coordinate so that when I put my packets together to send off to you, I can send you off with full sheets of cardstock that you can use for all of the various cards. And it's just easier for me and it's better for you. That way you get a whole bunch of cardstock. So I'm putting green glue on this one, and I'm actually going to put this present going this way. However, I wanted to put a ribbon on there. And I could have cut this off. There we go. Probably beforehand. But I'm going to cut this section off. And then I think I'll even add a little green bow. There's that present, if I was doing it exactly the same. And this one, we're going to actually put the ribbon on this way. So you're going to layer that on there, and then you're going to cut this end off. And then we'll add this onto our present. So it just gives you some different looks for your different presents. I am going to do another one. This one's probably going to go on the inside of the card. So there's that. And then we have this one, which I probably should have. I'll just use this little scrap. But I always cut more than what you think you're going to need. Because why not? Put that on there. Trim those edges. All right. So once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and put my card together. So I'll bring back my card base. I'm going to actually put the reindeer on with some dimensionals so that he's up a little higher. That is so stinking cute. Get my dimensional tape out of there. Cover. And then I'm going to add some presents with adhesive and some with dimensionals. And the eye went straight across on this one. I think I'm going to go crooked on this. I'm going to do something different on this one. Because I can. So change up your cards. You don't have to follow me exactly. There's your present. And then these fun gems are in this suite, and they're little peppermint candies, which are really cute. And then this month, if you place an order with me that is over $60, I'm going to send you a pack of these for free with your card kit. A packet of supplies to do the tutorial. So you'll get, instead of just a strip of these, you'll get a whole package to yourself. That's for an order over 60. An order over 50 gets all the supplies to make the cards. All right. Then I'm going to take some of the red and white baker's twine and make a little bow. Make it tight. I'm going to add this on with a little mini glue dot. Let me grab them. So I just roll up my mini glue dot and add it to the back of that. And then add that to the front of my wreath. And trim off my edges. And we've got a really fun, cute card. Now, the last thing I did is I took a scrap of basic white and some Pool Party ink. And right along the edge of that cardstock, I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas. And that gives me a nice straight edge. And then I'm going to take this piece, pop it into my cutter, line it up. You can see by where the cut line is, if that's going to cut nice and straight, and it did. I'm happy about that. Then you'll take your scissors, trim your edges, make a little V to cut your banner. Do the same on this side. And then, once you've done that, what I do with my banner then to make it wave is I take this side and just my fingers and squeeze them and pull. And then do the same thing on this side, only pull it that way. And that makes your banner wavy. And then on the part that is raised up, you can actually put 2 dimensionals. So you notice I took the tape off in between. And then attach this to your card base. And your banner will stay wavy. Oh, I don't want that to show. There we go. So there's your card. That's using a lot of the dies. Now on the inside of this one, I went ahead and put in a piece of basic white at 4 by 5 1/4, and then added a couple extra presents that I had around to make the inside of the card look pretty. All right, on this card, this is a pocket card, and this is a really cute idea with this designer series paper because you get to see both sides of the paper with this project. And then this has a little pull out. You can see I decorated it with some of the designer series paper presents that was in the pack. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to do it with a different color paper only because I used up all this. So you're going to get a 4 by 12 sheet in your packet. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 by 12. Move that out of the way. And then this piece is actually going to get cut down. This piece is actually going to get cut down to 10 1/2. 10 1/2. Sorry about that. And then you're going to fold it in half. And the one thing you want to make sure of is that your deer are facing the right way. So this is going to end up being your pocket. And then this piece, I just folded down, and I didn't fold it down at any particular length, about an inch, I guess. And fold that down. And that's how you develop your pocket. If you want to, score it. All right, so once you've done this part, you can go ahead and actually add adhesive, and I wouldn't add a whole lot. I would add a very thin strip on either side so that that green glue doesn't get too spread out inside that pocket. And then we're going to take some baker's twine, and I'm going to actually just wrap it. So I just wrapped it several times. I cut a lot, so we'll wrap it several times and then tie it in a bow. We'll use that extra too. Like that. And then what I did with mine is I actually made another bow. So I took my baker's twine and wrapped it around my fingers to make a bow. So it would be thicker. Tie that tight. And then this piece, you actually have a little bit of time to manipulate it. We are going to take another glue dot and roll it up like that. Stick it to the back of that knot and stick it on top of that other knot. And it just gives you a little more bulk to your bow. Not necessary, but it's kind of nice to have a little bulkier bow. Then this piece is actually just going to get attached. And I do like to put adhesive on either side of that ribbon onto a 4 1/4 by 5 inch piece of cardstock. That's your pocket. Then I took these two pieces and I'm going to stamp them using I'll use garden green. Line that up at the top of my piece of cardstock. Add that onto there, and then a gift card could go on here if you wanted it to be a gift. This is great because it fits into an envelope. And then this piece will slide down inside there, and may all your days be filled with full of cheer shows. And then on, like I said, on this one, I cut some presents out of the designer series paper. You'll have extras of that too. So there's just a cool idea, really a fast, quick card. But really, I love that with the designer series paper. Alrighty, so this next project is one of our book boxes, and I just think that this is really, really cute. And it's all pretty much done with designer series paper. The only stamping that I did was the Merry Christmas. But it is just turned out adorable. So this would come in your kit with a $50 order. So the book box comes as 2 pieces. This is the bottom of the box, and it's very easy to put together. I'll quick do it in front of you here. So you just want to score or fold on all the score lines. And Stampin' Up! Has actually put adhesive on this for us, so we don't even have to figure out where to put the adhesive. So you just tear off these strips, and what you're going to do is this is going to come up, and then this, and so these tabs are sandwiched in between that. Push that down, so they're sandwiched in between that side of the box. And you're going to do the same thing on this side. And then they're sandwiched in between there. And there's the inside of your box. And what's cool about that is that the inside of the box has tape on it too, so that you can actually add your box with adhesive. And when you pull this up, it gives you little guidelines to put it on. So I'll show you that here in a minute. But before we do any of that, I want to cover my box with some designer series paper. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my box and know that this tab needs to come around this way. And so I want my reindeer to be going this way, so they're not flying upside down. So I'm going to flip my box over, or flip the paper over, and from the back, I'm not going to worry about this. So these are actually cut, these boxes happen to be 4x4 wide, and that's exactly what your cardstock should be cut at, or your designer series paper. So any paper will do, but you just want to make sure that, you know, your images are right side up. So once I've done that, I'm going to take my scissors. Oh, here I have a little, I'm going to put that in there. I actually put my box together with a magnet, and I'll show you how I did it. It's not hard. It just was, I didn't want it to, it's set up so that if somebody wants to open the box, they have to tear it. And I just think that if somebody got a box like this, if it was me, I wouldn't want to tear it. I would want to keep it as a keepsake, or even as a re-gift. You could re-gift the box to somebody else. So you're just going to go ahead and cut this designer series paper. And once I've done that, I'm actually going to, I'm probably going to fold on those score lines just so I kind of have it started. And then I'm going to use green glue. And the reason is because it will stick really well, but it will also give me a little bit of time to manipulate this to make sure that it's on that cover how I want it. So once I've done that, I'm going to lay this down and butt this up against the edge. Lay this down and then move it around. So you can see how I can move it to make sure it covers that whole box, and then press it down. And actually, while it is still a little wet and movable, I'm going to go ahead and fold those score lines. And then I need to trim off these little points here, because I didn't trim those off. I just wait till it gets on there. And that's, oh, I thought it was upside down. That's how you cover your box. But remember that this tab comes up and around this way. So one of the things that Stampin' Up! Did, look at that, it matches up perfect. Anyway, they put this little tape on here so that you can tape it down to your box. But honestly, then somebody would have to rip it open. And I don't really want to do that. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead with some more of my paper. Oh, I have to see what I got here. I've been using this paper like crazy. Oh, I don't know here. I'll use this one, I guess. All right, and then I'm going to use my stylish shapes. So I'm using the little square out of my stylish shapes, and I think I'm going to use this piece of cardstock. And I just want to cut some pieces out that have some trees for the background. I'm going to cut 2 of them, so I'll be right back. All right, so I have those cut out, and I just randomly cut some out. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to attach it, but I think first I'm going to put this on, so I have something to press down on. So you can see when I pull off those tapes where it has the guide for you to put the actual box on. All right, so you just want to make sure that you get this on there so that it's somewhat even, and once you press it down, it's there to stay. And you want to make sure that you didn't get it on the score line in the back there so that the book actually closes. Now I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to add them to my box. Oh, that would be pretty too. Such decisions. I like both sides of the paper. So I'll do this one here. And this one here. Like that. And like I said, you can go ahead and use that to tape that shut. However, once they rip that box open, the box is going to be wrecked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two little magnets, and I will send you magnets. Somehow I'm going to tape them to something so that you can't miss them when I send out the packet of supplies. And I'm putting them on with mini glue dots. The reason I'm nervous about it is because magnets are not good for little kids. Sometimes they eat them, and that's not good for their bodies. So if you get a packet and you don't want, if you qualify for a packet, which is $50, and you do not want the magnets, will you please send me an email and let me know so I don't get them sent out to you? Otherwise, I'll put a warning in the box. So I'm just going to add that magnet and then push down on that. And when I suppose it's on the, there. Once you've got it so they match up, just go ahead and press them tight. And then your box will always clasp shut. Now, what I did for the rest of this project was, I have to find my, I'm going to go ahead and use the pool party. And that Merry Christmas stamp. And the garden green ink this time on the pool party. And again, I'm going to stamp this on the edge of a piece of cardstock, so I have one straight edge. Then I'm going to come in with my cutter and line that up so I get a nice straight edge on it. That's the scoring blade. You want to use the cutting blade. Pull that out. And this time I'm going to cut them apart. So look at your stamps and see what kind of words you have. You might have all kinds of words that would go well with this. Attach this on here. And then you're going to pull out your cardstock. Let me see my cardstock that I got here. You find a deer that I like and cut them out. So I'll do this one here. Hey Stampers, while I was editing my video, I realized that I did not videotape the end of it where I put this box together. So I went ahead and cut out that deer, and I just added her or him to the flap with just a little bit of that multi-purpose glue. And then I added, of course, some of the peppermint embellishments and a baker's twine bow. So those are what my boxes ended up looking like, and I love them. I love this little box. I can't wait to put some little treats or a gift card in there. So anyway, I just want you to know that if you haven't already done so, you may want to sign up for my newsletter where I send out tips, tricks, and techniques each week, but I also keep you informed about all the classes and the videotapes. I also keep you informed of all the classes and the videos that I'm doing, the live videos on YouTube. So thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. You can sign up for my newsletter at www.DDStamps.com, where you will get an email probably a couple times a week letting you know what's going on, what new videos I've done, what classes I've got coming up, and all that good stuff. So take care and thank you. Bye.